it's Shell with Creative Shell Bear, and today we are doing the third of the mixed media morsels by Cahone. And this one is really simple, it's really fun, and it gives you a big impact. So what we're going to do is you want to choose a couple of colors of paint, of acrylic paint. And I chose 3, but the 2 that are going down first, I have this orange and then I have this fuchsia. And these are just some I picked up at Walmart. And you don't have to prepare your page or anything like that. What we're going to do is we're just going to put the paint directly on the bottom, and then we're going to let those 2 dry, and then we'll come back with our green. And I chose these 2 colors, the pink and the orange, is because Cahone did this beautiful, they were some kind of flowers that she said had blown off like into the wind. And we're in a lake. The plan is to kind of have it look like poppies when I'm done. I'm going to put a little bit more pink just because the pink kind of got drowned out. You don't want this layer too thick. You just want to paint your paper. But I want a little bit of the pink. Like, again, you won't see much of this. You won't see like the whole thing because it'll be covered up with green. But you'll see, you know, bits and pieces of it will pop out. So I'm going to let this dry. And then when we come back, you're going to need some alcohol. Just some simple alcohol from the drugstore. This is 70%, but they do say that I think there's like a 91% that is even more intense and it gives you even better results. But all I have on hand is the 70%. And then you're going to need a top coat, and I'm going to use green for that. So we're going to let this dry, and I'll be back and I will complete this morsel, and I think you guys will be thrilled with it. It is so fun. See you in a minute. With this technique, you can actually use your heat tool or a hair dryer to dry it. And that's really nice because, you know, if you're impatient and you don't want to wait, then that's really a good thing to do. So now you just want your top coat of paint. This is going to kind of get really messy. I'm using this little paint palette thing that I picked up at G's Embellishment Emporium. And it's just g'sembellishmentemporium.com. So you can go there and get something like this. This is really cute, and it really helps, you know, with your paint. So you just want really watery paint. About like that, you know, just not quite as thin as water, just a little bit thicker. Okay, and your alcohol. And you want to get all that prepared or so that you're ready as soon as you get the top coat on. And the reason why is because you need that to stay wet. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting it in my cap, my alcohol, and it'll probably get some paint and stuff in it, but I'll just wash it before I put it back on top of my alcohol. Okay, so this one you want to be prepared. I have some Q-tips. Now Kat did not use the Q-tips, but I really like the way that I can control my drops a little bit more with that. And I have a little paintbrush. So you can use that to flick your alcohol and stuff. So let me show you how I did this one. So you just want to quickly do your top coat on. And again, I'm not sure how these colors will turn out, but you know, that's the fun part of this. We're just kind of experimenting and see what we come up with, you know. That looks pretty good. You just want to make sure it stays really wet, and you just want it to go immediately into your alcohol. So again, I'm just using a Q-tip, and I'm just going to dip into my alcohol. If you don't want like a big drop, then just kind of push off somewhere else, you know. If you want extra, you can put more than 1 drop in the spot. You can kind of flick it. That's always kind of fun. Which you can do with the paintbrush also, if you really want some bigger flicks. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Doesn't that look like poppies? It just looks like a field of poppies, which is what I was aiming for. I think it's beautiful. But, you know, if you want more control, then just use, you know, the end of your paintbrush or a Q-tip, you know, whatever you'd like. I just think it's so fun. This is one of my favorite, and, you know, I have to admit, I've been kind of playing with some of these backgrounds on different projects. So, you may have seen this on one of my other projects. Isn't that so fun? And that's all there is to this, you know, to this project. I think it's so fun. Let's dry it and see how it looks. Isn't that just so beautiful? So let me show you what else I've been doing. So I'm going to put that aside. And as I do my small techniques, I have started a big journal. Also, you know, that was, like I said, that was one of my plans this year, was to kind of learn some mixed media and stuff like that. So what I've been doing as I learn the techniques from, in this case, Cahone, you know, I'll have other ones going in here also, but I'm putting them in this really big journal. Let me see if I can kind of zoom out. There we go. So I have the first one, which was the plastic wrap technique, and I just love that. My plan is to come back into this one and eventually do some mixed media on top of the backgrounds. And then I have the collage, which is so pretty, and you know, I just keep thinking, what am I going to do next? And someone that I'm taking a class from now, she says, just make a bunch of backgrounds. When you're ready, you know, when you have that those creative juices flowing and you just want to create something, you know, your background's already done. So then you can just go in, start, instead of waiting, you know, like this process takes several hours to do. You know, all these take a little bit of time, but then you just kind of look through your book and say, oh, I want to put a house on there, or, you know, whatever you'd like to put on it. So let's go ahead and do this one together. And I think I'm going to use some darker colors because those colors were a little muted to me. So I think I'm going to use red, and let me go look. So I went with a purple pansy, and I'm going with a red this time to kind of maybe make it a little bit brighter. That one was kind of dull, you know, or kind of blended all together, the one I just did. And so I thought, well, I would do the red and like a bright purple. Let's see what I think of that. Okay. That one wasn't open yet. So this is just a flag red. And again, these are just really cheap, you know, 50 cents or whatever at Walmart. You don't have to have anything special for these backgrounds. So I'm just going to, oh, isn't that pretty? Wow. I really like the colors. You want to be careful on the colors you choose because you don't want them to muddy. I have seen some that, you know, you just pick the total wrong color and you just have mud. You know, if you overwork it like that, it's kind of a little muddy. You just want to kind of choose complementary colors. Okay, I like that. I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to dry that real quick, and then we will put on our top coat. Okay, so that's really good and dry. Okay. Make sure I have enough paint there, and you just want to mix some clean water with that, like I said, just until it's really nice and thin. So I have my paint, and again, it's really good and watery. You have your alcohol beside, and I have my Q-tips that I'm going to use, or my paintbrush. So we're just going to quickly put on some green, or whatever color you choose. I just chose green because I kind of want it to look like grass when I'm done. And this probably would be better if I had a bigger paintbrush to cover, you know, the area really quickly. Okay, I'm going to go over it again really quick just to make sure it stays, it's all pretty good and wet. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same direction. I'm only doing that, you know, just, but it is, you know, I'm looking for grass and stuff, so you can do whatever color you want. My background was still a little wet. That's okay though. Okay, so let's add our alcohol and we'll see what we come up with. Again, you want to do this part when it's wet. Looks like mine isn't quite wet enough. And that's why you want to do it when it's still wet, because otherwise you won't get any. See what I can do to save this. I'm not sure. Okay, let's try this again. We're going to try to save it because, you know, that's the whole point. You don't want to get rid of anything that you can save. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dry this. I'm going to put another thin coat of something else on there. Okay, so that didn't work too well. That's okay. I'm going to try and just fix it. You know, the good thing about acrylic paints is that you just, if you don't like something, you just paint right over it. Another good tip I learned from watching Cahone. So I got me a little sponge brush. We're going to give that one a try and see how it works. I'm going really, really thin this time just to make sure I get it thin enough. Again, you want to have your alcohol ready, and I do. And that's really good and thin. And I have this sponge brush. I'm going to try to use this and see if I can't make it go a little faster. Actually, I might kind of help it along there. That's the fun part about this. You keep trying, you paint over it if it's something you don't like, and give it another try. Okay, that looks good and wet. We're going to hope for the best here and see what happens. Okay, let me put that aside. Okay, and grab my alcohol. There we go. We're getting something. Definitely when it's bigger, you definitely want to go really, really fast. Otherwise it just dries. So you definitely want to make it super quick. I really want some bigger ones, so I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Maybe if I just kind of drop it. There we go. Get just a touch more. This is messy, but it's fun. You know, I can see this as a background for, you know, a house, a little fairyland, or something like that. It wasn't what I envisioned at all, not even close, but I really like how it turned out. Or I will when it dries. You have a little bit of the red and stuff in there. If you don't like it at this point, let it dry and start over. You know, that's just... Never throw anything away. if you don't like it today, come back tomorrow and see what, see if it's something that you like tomorrow. This one I got really messy here. There we go. Kinda. So we're gonna let that dry, and I'll be right back and show you the end results. Okay, so this is what I ended up with, and as you know, this is not what I, intended. I intended for the bubbles, for the background to be red and purple, but sometimes it doesn't end up like what you envision. So I really like how it turned out. I think I was able to save the page. And, to me, this reminds me of the forest floor. My husband and I go out yearly and look for wild mushrooms. And this reminds me of like the moss or, the forest floor where we find the mushrooms. So do not be surprised to see a mushroom later on this page. So that is, that was Media Morsel 3. You learned how to do it correctly and how to fix mistakes. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and thank you guys who have hung in there with me from the beginning. And, I wanted to announce that there will be a giveaway when we hit 300 subscribers, and the way it's going, it won't be long. Just thank you guys so much for all of your support and all your comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a great day.